If you're a heavy guy like me, you might be surprised. Well, you won't be fucking surprised. You won't be surprised how quickly you can get to the rated capacity of your bike, carrying capacity that is. By the time you add your luggage, your helmet, your clothing and your pillion, you could be getting desperately close to the maximum weight your bike will take. Check this out. So check this lot out. I took to the scales and weighed my panniers, 13.8 kilos. Top box 6.5 kilos. That's without the rail kits and stuff. So I've allowed another kilo and a half for those. My tank bag, that even came to about 2.3 kilos. Helmet 1,500 grams. Yeah, it's kind of regular. But I was amazed how much my riding gear weighed. So 6.6 kilos. Now that's with a mid-layer, base layer, jacket and trousers, and my boots. So a bit lighter when summer riding. But then don't forget your pillions, wearing all this gear as well. Their helmet's going to weigh something similar. Hopefully my pillion's not quite as large as me, so their riding gear will be a bit less. But of course they use the same panniers and everything else, and their jocks. My missus's jocks won't be as heavy as my jocks. So there's a little saving there. We're done. So it can be hard to find the loading capacity of a bike. Some manufacturers make it really easy. BMW make it really easy on the website. This is the carrying capacity of this bike. You don't have to calculate anything. It just tells you there in black and white. Triumph, very good. That's in the freely accessible user manual on their website. It specifically states the loading for your particular bike and your model. So, for instance, it's 224 kilos for my Triumph Tiger 1200 XCA. But for the XR model, without all the bells and whistles, you get an extra 6 kilos carrying capacity, 230 kilos. Yamaha make it easy. From a data sheet you can just download off their website. I really struggle to find any data on KTM, Ducati, Suzuki, Honda and Harley. I'm sure they're out there somewhere and reasonably easy to get, but I couldn't find them on the web. All I'm saying is BMW, Triumph and Yamaha were really easy to get. If you can't find the loading weight, see if you can find the gross vehicle weight. A lot of manufacturers state that. So that's the total weight of the bike and everything that's ever going to be on it. That's the maximum they allow. That's on the registration certificate of Irish bikes, of an Irish registration certificate. So you can see for this Triumph here, it's 496 kilos. Now I know in the Triumph user manual it's stating I can load this bike 224 kilos. So if I can take one from the other, that'll actually give me my wet weight, which Triumph don't usually provide. So if you can't find it for your bike, look for your GVW on your registration document if it's there, and take the manufacturer's claimed wet weight, take one from the other, and that's going to be roughly your loading capacity of that bike. You'll be amazed at some bikes how crappy their loading capacity is. So anyway, I decided to check my bike out, weigh a few things up and see what I had left for a pillion, a naked pillion that is, because I'm taking into account their clothing, and it's always best if your pillion turns up naked first and then give them the clothing. That's what I think anyway. So here's what I came to, and it soon turned out that my wife was going to have to lose more weight. Because, no, actually I think I have to lose more weight. Yeah, good job, she's never going to see this video. I started off with my 224 kilos, as I just mentioned. By the time I took my tank bag off, panniers, top box and all the mounting hardware, we're talking about another 23 kilos. Allowing for the weight of me and my pillion's clothing, helmets and boots, another 15 kilos, nearer 10 kilos in the summer. But I weighed him all on the scales, 15 kilos, mad. Now weigh yourself and your missus and see if you're inside my kilos left. Well, by the time I take my luggage and my gear off, I'm already down to 186 kilos. I'm 123 kilos, give or take an ounce. Oh yeah, let's mix kilos and ounces. Yeah, give or take an ounce. So that gives me an available luggage capacity or carrying capacity left of 63 kilos for the missus and any clothing. So I can't afford to put anything in that wonderfully expensive top box or panniers. But this is a Triumph Tiger 1200, and unbelievably it's got a great carrying capacity along with a couple of other bikes, usually BMWs. But you'd be amazed at how crappy some of these bikes are, as I just mentioned, and I've done up a little table. Coming next. So here's just an arbitrary list of bikes that I could find the carrying capacity for. The Triumph, the BMW, as I said, Yamaha there, FGR 1300, Super Tenere, all the 1600, the 1.6 litre BMWs, and the Grand America and stuff. Africa Twin, which I had, 195 kilos. Mind you, if you had 195 kilos in an Africa Twin, the thing would be pointing at the moon. The rear spring rate was so weak, but that was easily and cheaply sorted. Amazed to see 192 kilos on a 2018 Goldwing. The one thing I'll say from that is I got that from a USA owner's manual, and weirdly enough, when I had the Africa Twin, one of the US people on the forums was stating that their max loading was 174 kilo as opposed to the Euro 195 kilo. So I don't know whether that Goldwing figure of 192 kilos is valid for Europe. Possibly, I don't know. But look at that Vulcan Voyager. I mean, that thing's a mammoth bike, and that's only 180 kilos. That's 50 kilos less than the top bike that I could find. That new 2018 Tracer 900 GT with the panniers, the loading capacity of that is only 167 kilos. Even regular weight people would want to watch out on that 2-up. By the time they loaded that up, that's not great, is it really? I would say the value bike for your money here is where is it now? Kawasaki Versys 1000. Top performer, considering how much cheaper it is than the bikes above it. That's not the whole story though, of course, because some of these max loading weight, the bikes have top boxes and panniers, mostly the BMWs and stuff. So I've made an allowance for, say, 14 kilos for a set of panniers. Now I know some panniers are lighter than that and some are heavier. For instance, the Africa Twin panniers were very good. They were only 9.5 kilos and there was no framework for that. So it's a couple of kilos unfair to an Africa Twin, for an example. That just happens to be a bike I know about. I think the Tracer panniers are down as 12.5 kilos. The Amelin panniers are a bit bigger, a bit heavier. I think the Triumph plastic panniers are actually heavier than their aluminium panniers. I've just used the aluminium figures here. Well, I've just used the figures of, say, 14 kilos for a set of panniers, just to move this table around a bit and give the advantage back to bikes that come with panniers, so you're not allowing for those. So now I'm going one stage further, adding 7 kilos for a top box, because some of these bikes comes with top box as well as panniers, so it's a bit unfair to them. That's generally pushing the BMW 1600s and the RT and stuff like that. At the top, Triumphs are still doing okay, the 1200s, but the Versys, again, still just right up there. I'd love to have some more figures on some of the other bikes, V-Stroms and stuff like that, and Cross Tourers and Multistradas and whatnot. It's just too difficult to find the information. I know some will. If you have any information on that, stick it up in the comments, and but name your source so we know it's viable. Like, I have a source for every one of these figures, whether it's BMW website or a manual or something or other like that. I'd love to know what the Multistradas and the KTMs were coming out at. So the moral of the story is, well, it's not a moral really. It's just if you're fat, eat less, lose a bit of weight, or keep eating the donuts, ditch the missus and tell her you can't take her to that trip to Spain on health and safety grounds. That's it. That's what I'm gonna do. Ta-ra.